As Chief of the Statutes Committee, I would like to thank all members for their involvement and constructive approach in finding an acceptable compromise for all parties without undermining our political will. I should say to you that when we actually embarked on putting flesh around the Prague resolution of 2009 that we should have a party candidate for the position of President of the European Commission, it was one of those aspirations, declarations, which in a room like this and on an occasion like this, we could all emotionally get behind. But when the Statutes Committee, which Paul Nyrup asked me to chair, actually met, we have 33 different parties in our family, from 27 member states, soon to be 28, with different cultures, different traditions, different ages. For example, my party is celebrating this year its 100th anniversary, and we have been in continuous existence since, but many other parties went through different transformations. So when we actually got down to deciding how would we give effective legitimacy and coherence in a form of statutes, it was actually quite difficult, and it took us more time than I anticipated it would take. And because of that, I believe that we do now have a much stronger and a much robust way of making this a reality. And I think the key breakthrough was the following, and it has already been alluded to earlier, and that is we want to achieve the same objective, but the way in which we make decisions in each of our parties is similar but not the same. And therefore the key compromise that we made, because some people wanted to have the same structured decision-making process in all of our member parties, the key compromise that we made, and which I'm recommending to you, and it's contained in the statutes, is we respect the culture and the tradition and the history of each of our member parties, and we have asked them to engage in a nominating process which is set out in the documentation, which is similar for every party, but to arrive at the decision-making within the traditions of decision-making in those parties. I think it's fair to say that that was the key element around which we could make progress. And therefore, the statutes which we are proposing to the Congress to vote on, the new statutes, will enable a stronger PS and a more effective decision-making process. The statutes will set in stone important steps we took on our last councils. First of all, we have also changed and clarified our Declaration of Principles, and, as I've referred to already, the process for a common candidate to the European Commission presidency. The statutes are the constitution of our party, and if we all agree by rules, we make our organisation, I believe, and I'm sure many delegates here also believe, we make our organisation stronger and more coherent, more able to support our member parties in winning elections and, as you've heard before lunch, regaining power across the rest of Europe. And that is why I recommend the Congress, on behalf of the Statutes Committee and on the PES presidency, to strongly support and adopt the statutory amendments that Anne and Gilles are going to submit to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruairi. And the proposed changes has gone through both the statutory committee, the coordination team, and the presidency. So it's very well worked through. So we propose that we take all the amendments in one block, and it has been out there for the whole Congress. Is that acceptable to take it as a block vote? Could you raise your hand? I say that it's acceptable. So Gilles, if you can take.
Très bien. Merci camarades. Et donc, nous allons maintenant passer alors au vote sur l'ensemble de la modification statutaire. Qui est pour la modification statutaire dans son ensemble? Qui est contre? Alors, je vois une voix contre, deux voix contre, qui s'abstient? Et une abstention, donc unanimité moins 2 voix contre et 1 abstention. Je vous remercie. Et les statuts sont donc adoptés.
Thank you very much. And then we go to the next important issue, and that is to have admission and exclusion of members and status change of some members. And you have all seen the paper, but we will take it one by one. And we start with the Socialdemokratiska Partija Hrvatska. Was it right? From Croatia. Can we ratify the decision of the presidency for STB Croatia to become a full member of the Party of European Socialists? How many is for? Okay, how many is against? 1 against? No. Okay, no one against. How many abstentions? Okay, congratulations.
Dans le même ordre d'idées, la présidence a accordé au parti Harmonie de Lettonie le statut provisoire de membre observateur du Parti socialiste européen le 14 septembre 2012. Peut-on ratifier cette décision de la présidence? Qui est pour? Qui est contre? Qui s'abstient? Eh bien, à l'unanimité, le parti Harmonie reçoit ce statut. Merci.
So we come to observer members. I'm especially happy to ask the Congress if the Congress can ratify the decision of the presidency for the Fatah from Palestine to become an observer members of Party of European Socialists. Who are for? And against? And abstentions? 1 abstention. So we welcome Fatah as observer members of PES. Congratulations.
Bien, je viens de voir son fondateur arriver et donc la présidence a accordé au parti tunisien FDTL État cathol le statut provisoire de membre observateur le 14 septembre 2012. Je vous demande si vous pouvez ratifier cette décision de la présidence. Qui est pour? Qui est contre? Il y a un carton qui reste en l'air, mais je crois que c'est une erreur. Qui est contre? Qui s'abstient? Donc à l'unanimité, bienvenue au parti Frères tunisiens.
And let us with that hope there will be a new strong cooperation between the Arab social democratic parties. Then we have the next one, and that's the Democratic Party of Moldova. So can we ratify the decision of the presidency for Democratic Party of Moldova to become observers of the PES? Who are in favor? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? So then we welcome PDM as observer.
Alors, notre parti frère estonien, le SDE, a fusionné avec le parti russe d'Estonie. Le 29 juin 2012, la présidence a confirmé que le SDE restait membre à part entière du Parti socialiste européen. Peut-on ratifier cette décision de la présidence? Qui est pour? Qui est contre? Qui s'abstient? Eh bien, à l'unanimité, nous ratifions cette décision.
Okay, so the last decision we have to take here, it's a change of status, and it's a party from Latvia. It's the LSDSP party of Latvia, and unfortunately they have become a very, very small party, so we ask the Congress if you can ratify the decision of the presidency for LSDSP of Latvia to become an observer party of PES. How many are in favor? Thank you. How many against? And do we have abstentions? We have, okay, so we have one abstention. But the decision is clear. The change of status for LSDSP are now observer party of PES.
Merci. Alors ceci ne nécessite pas de décision, mais c'est une information. Notre parti frère italien Democratici di Sinistra n'existant plus, il a été décidé de le retirer du Parti socialiste européen. La présidence en a été informée le 10 mai 2012. J'en informe ici le Congrès. Et je vous remercie pour cette partie de nos travaux.
Okay, do we have? Yeah. Okay, comrades, we now come to the political debate and after the debate also the adoption of the resolution Together for the Europe We Need. And for those who haven't seen the text before or want to use also the discussion to read the text, there might be some copies still on the table there on the way in the middle of the room. We have already some speakers who asked for the floor. The idea is also to continue this debate quite quickly so that we can keep to our planned agenda and come to all the other results too. The first speaker which we have is Jean-Christophe Combadelis from the PS France. He is the newly elected PS Vice President. Please, Jean-Christophe, take the floor. 1 second. It looks like not in the room. We can reshuffle the speakers list. Without losing. Okay, the first one is the EDEC part. Then the first one we take EDEC party leader Omiro. Please, if you're in the floor, please stick also to the time limit, which is around 2 to 3 minutes.
Dear comrades, we are witnessing one of the most crucial periods in the life of the European Union when despair appears to replace hope for millions of our citizens. The protracted economic crisis is having devastating effects on the economic of member countries, and the light at the end of this long tunnel is not in sight. Regrettably, so far, policies to redress this unacceptable situation have one common denominator: austerity. But when these one-sided measures lead to pitiful standards of living and widespread deprivation, when thousands upon thousands of people fill the streets and squares to protest in indignation, then we should ask ourselves what is to be done. The need of a new direction for European economic policies has been repeatedly stated by the European Socialist Party. We have correctly insisted right from the start that more solidarity, more justice and more social sensitivity are needed when shaping economic policies. Today, we still think that Europe needs a new growth agenda, one that will eventually guarantee economic growth, investments and more and better jobs for all, including and especially for young people. Allow me now my dear comrades, to refer to the situation of my country, Cyprus. The Republic of Cyprus is now holding the rotating presidency, as you know, of the Council of the European Union. To our great regret, Turkey has frozen relations and accession negotiations with the European Union, as it does not recognize Cyprus, a fully fledged member state of which it occupies 37% of the territory for the past 38 years, violating human rights and international law principles as well as the values the European Union is based on. In addition, unfortunately, Turkey has intensified its provocative behavior, denying our country's sovereign rights in Cyprus' exclusive economic zone. The stagnant negotiations to solve the Cyprus problem due to Turkey's intransigent position, especially after Mr. Eroglu, a fervent supporter of partition, assumed the leadership of the Turkish Cypriot community in May 2010, constitute for us a source of preoccupation. However, I can assure you that finding an agreed, just and viable solution based on pertinent United Nations resolutions and European Union values and principles continues to be a priority. Dear comrades, I ask for your support in the solution of the Cyprus problem and for changing the Turkish position regarding Cyprus and the Cyprus presidency of the Council of the European Union. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If our newly elected Vice President Jean-Christophe Kambedelis is here, I'd like to call him to the floor.
Merci. Je suis très heureux et très honoré de parler aujourd'hui devant vous en tant que Premier vice-président du Parti socialiste européen. Je voudrais remercier Sergei Stanishev de m'avoir fait l'honneur de cette responsabilité et saluer, au nom du Parti socialiste français, bien sûr Philippe Cordery, qui a été le secrétaire général de notre formation pendant 8 ans et qui l'a conduit là aujourd'hui où elle est, c'est-à-dire en capacité de être en bonne position pour les prochaines élections européennes. Aimable transition, puisque ce que l'on m'a proposé comme responsabilité, c'est de permettre à notre formation de s'engager sérieusement et positivement dans les prochaines élections. Et de ce point de vue, je crois que la résolution que nous avons adoptée compte 2 points qui peuvent la résumer et nous fixer une feuille de route pour ces prochaines élections. La première idée, elle est toute simple, elle est dans la première page de notre texte, c'est que l'Europe que nous vivons n'est pas celle que nous souhaitons. En effet, cette Europe qui a été longtemps, trop longtemps, dirigée par la droite conservatrice en Europe et libérale, cette Europe qui est en partie dans la récession, cette Europe qui a comme drapeau simplement l'austérité et qui se refuse à traiter des problèmes de société, cette Europe qui est contestée par les peuples dans toute une série de pays, cette Europe qui voit la montée du nationalisme et de l'individualisme consumériste, cette Europe, c'est celle que laisse la droite conservatrice en Europe précisément. Et je crois que l'enjeu de la période qui vient, au-delà de la construction européenne, mais dans son domaine peut-être électoral, c'est qui sera capable de contester et de porter la contestation de cette Europe-là. Est-ce que ce sera le courant social-démocrate, comme Sergei l'a proposé tout à l'heure dans son intervention, comme Martin Schulz l'a développé dans la sienne? Est-ce que ce seront les sociodémocrates qui, au-delà de leurs nuances que nous connaissons tous, seront capables de porter une alternative crédible à la politique conservatrice menée principalement par Mme Merkel? Ou est-ce que ce seront d'autres courants que nous connaissons tous dans nos pays, c'est-à-dire des courants de droite extrême, contestatistes et populistes, ou encore des courants écologistes, ou encore des courants critiques, radicaux, néo-communistes? L'enjeu, il est là, et le seul moyen de capter cette contestation qui existe, le seul moyen de donner une perspective politique, eh bien, c'est le deuxième plan du texte que nous avons adopté, c'est-à-dire le fait qu'il y ait une Europe qui soit plus juste, plus solidaire, j'y ajouterais peut-être plus fiable. Fiable sur le plan économique, mais aussi fiable sur le plan social. Et donc tout l'enjeu des années à venir, c'est de faire le bilan de la politique de la droite, et nous allons nous y employer, tant au niveau d'un ensemble de nos partis qu'au niveau du Parlement européen, que du point de vue de la politique menée par le Parti socialiste européen, mais en même temps, par des éléments extrêmement concrets, parce que nos concitoyens n'abordent pas la politique européenne à travers des concepts ou des éléments de traité, mais par des questions extrêmement concrètes, montrer qu'il y a une autre Europe, un autre chemin pour une autre Europe aujourd'hui, et que nous portons ce projet. Voilà pourquoi la tâche qui m'a été confiée me semble enthousiasmante, et pourquoi je voudrais vous la faire partager, en espérant qu'en 2014, eh bien, nous soyons majoritaires en Europe, tout du moins majoritaires au Parlement européen, de manière de réorienter la construction européenne. C'est une nécessité pour nous tous, mais croyez bien, c'est une nécessité pour le Parti socialiste français. Merci.
Merci. Der nächste Redner ist der Genosse Philipp Steinberg von der SPD in Deutschland.
Thank you very much. We are supposed to talk about the resolution together for the Europe we need, and actually I really want to do that now, because I think it's very important that we talk about the resolution which actually should be the basis for our politics in the near future. And I really think it's a very good resolution. It has gained as well a lot in the process after the adoption of many of the amendments tabled by us, by many of us in the process. The resolution spells out what we are standing as socialists, as social democrats, what we are standing for. A social Europe, regulation of the financial markets, a European financial transaction tax, and a more democratic Europe. And I absolutely welcome those points, as does the German delegation. But, dear comrades, dear friends, please let me voice as well some critical remarks, which are meant to be, however, constructive. Because I think, in spite of the broad consensus on these general points I just mentioned, there are some issues in the resolution we should discuss a little bit more in detail. There is very little in the resolution about tax policy. No mentioning of minimum tax rates we would like to have. It is very weak on the taxation of the rich, and I would have liked to have a stronger position. As well, we talk about democratization of the EU, and that's very good. But we need to go a little bit more into some more detail. What is our vision as social democrats? What are the structural instruments we need to implement? And after all as well, do we need a new European Convention? That's a debate, comrades, we should actually look a little bit into. And of course, when we talk about Eurobonds, when we talk about the European Redemption Fund, we should as well ask ourselves, what are the necessary structural requirements for that? And there we should actually go into some more depth once again. And dear comrades, I regret a little bit that we don't have the time at this Congress here to discuss those questions. I really think leaders' roundtables are great. But actually, I would have liked to discuss those questions together, we, the delegates, together with the leaders. And I would really ask the PAS presidency, please make sure that at our next convention, we have more time for debate. We have more time for debate with our leaders and together amongst us. I really ask the new president, Sergei Stanisev, the new Secretary General, Achim Post, and all the others who have been elected, please engage in a discussion with us, with the delegates, with the parties, because we need that. It is difficult, of course. We do have different traditions in our national parties, but we need to discuss them. It is only then that we become stronger. And therefore, please, let's become even stronger by discussing, by being controversial. I'm sure that will make us stronger. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Philip, for the suggestions. They are very interesting. I call upon Jana Bessa-Muska from the PvdA, the Netherlands.
Dear friends, the Dutch Labour Party wholeheartedly embraces the proposal for the European Youth Guarantee. For us, this forms the core of the resolution that we are voting today. It is what has bound us throughout this Congress and what the PES and its members should work on, because a real European party is a party of action. We need a European-wide youth guarantee, but what we need even more are local programs for the youth guarantee. In the Netherlands, we had a youth guarantee that kept our youth unemployment the lowest across Europe. Since the program ended, youth unemployment has been on the rise again. The underground work does matter. This resolution, therefore, gives us all an assignment to work out our own proposals, concrete proposals for a youth guarantee, and a common vision on how we make sure that there are resources to fund the youth guarantee, also in those countries where youth unemployment is highest. The youth guarantee has to be the focus of our road towards the European elections. As we have seen in our own campaign less than a month ago in the Netherlands, people do vote on issues, and let's make the youth guarantee our issue.
Thank you, Jana. And the next speaker is Udo Bullmann from the German Social Democratic Party.
Liebe Genossinnen und Genossen, die Themen sind die richtigen auf diesem PSE-Kongress. Ja, das haben wir den ganzen Morgen diskutiert. Ohne eine neue Aufstellung des Finanzmarktes, ohne klare Regeln gegen Spekulation, werden wir die Wirtschaft nicht wieder auf einen guten Pfad führen in Europa. Wir arbeiten im Europäischen Parlament genau an diesen Gesetzgebungen gegen Spekulation, für mehr Sicherheit für die Verbraucher, für die reale Wirtschaft, gegen einen aufgeblähten Finanzmarktsektor, der längst verlernt hat, seine eigentliche Funktion zu erfüllen. Genossinnen und Genossen, das Problem ist aber, es wissen zu wenige Menschen, dass wir das tun. Jeden Tag streiten wir für die Frage, dass Austerität gebrochen werden muss, dass wir eine Politik für mehr Wachstum, für mehr und bessere Beschäftigung unterstützen müssen. An den ganz vielen Beispielen, meine Vorrednerin, für eine Garantie für die Jugend, damit die nächste Generation nicht verloren ist. Das ist unsere Politik, aber Genossinnen und Genossen, es wissen zu wenige Menschen in Europa, dass wir das tun. Und viele von uns sind gefangen in ihren nationalen Kämpfen, in den Auseinandersetzungen zu Hause, in dem Vor und Zurück. Und wenn ihr euch umschaut hier und mit den Delegierten sprecht, auch gerade mit den Delegierten, die vielleicht das erste Mal da sind, dann sagen viele, dieser Kongress gibt Kraft. Wir sollten mehr davon haben. Wir sollten davon häufiger hören. Wir sollten mehr davon in der Lage sein, nach Hause zu bringen. Und deswegen, liebe Freundinnen und Freunde, lasst uns Mut haben. Ich will sehr unterstützen, das, was hier ausgeführt worden ist zu der zukünftigen Gestaltung unserer Kongresse. Wir haben exzellente Reden gehört heute. Wir haben einen mutigen Schritt nach vorne gemacht, indem wir sagen, ja, wir wollen eine gemeinsame Spitzenkandidatur für 2014. Lasst uns darüber hinausgehen. Hier, Genossinnen und Genossen, ist ein Ort, wo man nicht nur exzellente Reden hören darf, hier kann man ringen um die richtigen Lösungen für Europa. Dann wird die Presse draußen stehen und das hören wollen, was wir diskutieren. Über die guten Reden hinaus, die wollen dann wissen, was wollen die europäischen Sozialdemokraten? Wie stellen Sie den Finanzmarkt neu auf? Wie geben Sie den Jugendlichen eine Chance? Wer ist am besten? Wo müssen wir nachhelfen? Das wird uns die europäische Öffentlichkeit schaffen, die wir brauchen. Deswegen lasst uns in diese Richtung gehen. Hier muss gestritten werden, hier muss diskutiert werden und hier müssen wir Erfolge erzielen und uns nicht nur die Reden anhören. Die sind gute Reden, die sind exzellente Reden, aber wir wollen Resultate gemeinsam herstellen. Das ist das, was die Genossinnen und Genossen mit nach Hause nehmen wollen. Ich glaube, das ist der Weg. Ich glaube, das ist der Weg, in den wir uns entwickeln müssen. Und lasst uns einen wichtigen Punkt unterstreichen. Dass es seit einigen Jahren, und das ist auch schon gewürdigt worden hier auf diesem Kongress, dass es seit einigen Jahren PSE-Activists gibt, junge Leute in ihrer Freizeit, die Kontakte herstellen über nationale Grenzen hinweg, sich anfreunden mit Genossinnen und Genossen in anderen europäischen Ländern, ist eine exzellente Sache. Ich würde die gerne lieber noch häufiger sehen, noch öfter erleben auf solchen Kongressen, Genossinnen und Genossen. Und warum geben wir nicht jedem von denen, von den jungen Genossinnen und Genossen, auch ein PSI-Mitgliedskärtchen in die Tasche, damit sie nach Hause gehen können und können sagen, ich gehöre zu diesem Verein und ich bin stolz darauf. Lasst uns das machen. Jeder, der und jede, die eintritt in eine sozialdemokratische Partei in Europa, soll auch das Recht haben dürfen, Mitglied der PSE individuell zu sein. Das schafft Freundschaften, das schafft Verbindungen. Wenn der junge Mann nach dem Studium in Glasgow eintritt und vielleicht keinen Job findet und vielleicht zu Hause nur ganz Schwierigkeiten bekommt, sich weiterzuentwickeln, muss er wissen, er hat Freunde in Deutschland, er hat Freunde in Frankreich, er hat Freunde in Italien. Das Gleiche für den jungen Mann oder die junge Frau in Italien oder in Griechenland. Wir sind eine Familie und das müssen wir dokumentieren, dass wir die Menschen hereinlassen über unsere formalen Strukturen hinaus. Dann wird die PSE blühen, dann werden wir gewinnen und dann werden wir auch unsere Geschichten voneinander lernen können, damit wir eine gemeinsame große Geschichte erzählen können. Dankeschön.
Danke sehr, Udo. I'm calling Marie Granlund from the SAP Sweden.
Dear friends, today we will join in a resolution of fair growth, jobs and development. As the leader of my party, the Swedish Social Democratic Party, Stefan Löfven, said earlier, we have a great task together towards the election 2014, and we must put Europe to work again, and that together. As socialists and social democrats, our main focus must be new jobs and green growth through a stable economic policy. An austerity-only policy will, of course, fail. In this resolution, we emphasize the importance of a social union to complement the fiscal measures. We have to close the inequality and gender gap, and we welcome the fight for higher social standards and against social dumping. The PS decision to put the youth unemployment on the top of the agenda is great and has changed the directions that had already influenced the Commission, believe it or not. And I promise you, all delegates, that the Swedish Social Democrats will deliver sharp proposals in our national parliament to fight youth unemployment. Unfortunately, we have a conservative government. But I will also share with you some worries I have from my point of view. The EU are a cooperation between national states that we want to take an active part in. The national parliaments must have an even more important role, and the added values of the European Union must be discussed. But when the resolution highlights a bigger role for the European Parliament, this risks this structure. Finally, I would like to approach one more important part that we would like to support. European competitiveness, that's essential, and we will be reachable if we invest in education, infrastructure, and innovation. Growth, of course, requires equality, and equality, of course, requires growth. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next speaker is Martin Stürmer from the German Comrades.
Dear comrades, first of all, thank you for the nice 2 days that we have spent here in Brussels. I think it was a tremendous time, and I really learned a lot from the conference here. I would like to raise 3 points. First of all, I would really like to apologize for some German media and some conservative leaders. I believe that finger-pointing and scapegoating, as we see there, is really a bad response to this crisis. And I'm really happy that we have in our resolution the statement that we want Greece to stay in the Eurozone. I think this is great. I think we always have to remember that the Euro crisis is not a struggle between countries or nation states. No, it's really ultimately a struggle between the poor and the rich in Europe, between creditors and debtors. I think this is important that we bring this message over to the people in Europe. Second, we really need to be clear and we really need to develop our vision of the future architecture of the European Union. Conservative leaders have really already implemented institutional reforms in the European Union. So the European Stability Mechanism and the Fiscal Stability Pact. But these institutions are out of the European Union framework, and they also implement conservative policies for the next years to come. And I'm afraid that we, as a Social Democratic Party, we really need to go and show that there's an alternative to these austerity-driven institutions. I think this is important that we do this in the upcoming years. Finally, really please support your members of the European Parliament in their fight for strengthening the role of the European Parliament. The heads of governments have really tried to exclude the European Parliament from crisis management. And they also try to keep the European Parliament out of the future reforms on the architecture of the European Union. So it's even more important that you support them, that you get to your national member parties, and that you really try to strengthen the role of the European Parliament. So thank you very much, merci, and Glück auf.
Thank you, Martin. Our next speaker is Ivailo Kalfin from the Bulgarian Socialist Party, BSP.
Thank you very much, dear comrades. First of all, congratulations to the newly elected leadership of our party, and I'm sure that they're going to be very demanding on us, like we are going to be demanding on them, because we have to deliver what we are promising also in the resolution of the Congress. We keep speaking, and it has been repeated many times, that we want more growth, we want more jobs. But we need also the instruments how to achieve that. I would like to inform you that now in the European Parliament, the group, we are carrying out a fight for one of the major instruments that we can use for that. And this is the European budget. And when we speak about solidarity, when we speak about growth and jobs, we have to see what we can use in order to achieve that.
in a difficult circumstances where national budgets are cutting cutting expenditures. When we have all this fiscal consolidation across Europe, what we need to do, this is to see the European budget not as an additional burden, but to create growth. That's why we have very clear priorities in this fight now. First, this is to have a European budget which is an investment budget, which goes back to the member states and they can use it in order to promote the business which is sound, to promote the creation of new jobs and to promote growth. Second, we would like to see clear priorities in this budget. And for us, we have heard young people also, our young comrades, the youth guarantee is very important. I can assure you that youth employment is going to be a center fight for the next budget until 2020 of our group in the European Parliament. I can assure you that everything which is done in order to stimulate innovation, to stimulate small and medium-sized companies, to stimulate social activity and participation in the creation of the European economy is going to be our centerpiece. We need the support also of the national parties for that. This is not a debate about figures. This is a debate about policies, and I'm sure that as a socialist and Democrats in Europe, we are going to make sure that these policies reach the people, reach the citizens, and they see the clear results of the use of their taxpayers' money. That's why youth unemployment, creation of jobs, small and medium-sized enterprises, innovations, this is going to be in the center of the future European budget. This is what we are standing for, and again, we are very much relying on the support coming from the national parties. Thank you very much.
Now we come to the final speaker on the discussion on the resolution, which is our Vice President from Slovakia, from Smer, Katarina Nevatalova.
Thank you very much. It's very symbolic because I will start where Ivailo finished just before me. When I was standing in this stage 3 years ago in Prague and I was calling for the support for young people, the only leader who came to me after my speech and said that it was great and we need to work for that was Gusenbauer. He's no more here among us, but I would like to say that this was really encouraging for me. And I'm happy 3 years after that, I'm standing here as the young vice president of this great party, great people, and I will be responsible one for the young people. It's a big honor for me, and I think that also what is included in our paper we are discussing about the young people is a great achievement also of youth organization of this party, which is ECOSI, and I don't see Kaisa, maybe she is here, but also other people who are working and pushing for more support for young people. And now we see that it's successful, and I hope that in the future we can help. As a party, it's very important for us to get the youth on our side. If we want to win elections in 2014, we need young people on our side. We need to show them that we care. Youth Guarantee is a great campaign, and we should work till we finish, until we have in every member state of the European Union and around Europe, everywhere the Youth Guarantee and the support for young people, because young people are the future. If we have every 5th person in Europe among young people is unemployed, is something which is unacceptable. And I hope that together we can manage, we can get it. We can change the education systems, which will be another portfolio I will be working for, and I'm very happy if anybody of you would like to cooperate with me on this, because we need education to be changed. There are a lot of issues like the new skills which we need to adopt to the curriculums and other issues. I can speak for 25 minutes about that, but this is not what I want to do this. I want to say that together we can manage, but we need to show the young people that we care, and then they will care, and they will show us the support back. I'm here standing also for the young people, and I hope that young people and also the party will stand behind you in this fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katarina. She was actually the last speaker on the resolution, but I would like to call our comrade from Tunisia, Mustafa Ben Jafar, to address our Congress as well.
chers amis, chers camarades, je suis évidemment très heureux aujourd'hui de couronner un processus d'intégration dans ma grande famille naturelle, celle des sociaux-démocrates européens. Je suis content, je suis aussi particulièrement redevable à tous et à toutes pour nous avoir soutenus tout au long de notre combat pour la démocratie et la liberté. Vous l'avez fait dans les moments durs, comme on dit les années de braise, au moment où d'autres collaboraient avec le régime dictatorial, ou tout au moins fermaient les yeux sur les atteintes de liberté et toutes les exactions dont souffraient les démocrates. Vous aviez été, et votre direction, les premiers à soutenir At-Takattul et les démocrates tunisiens. Avant la révolution, d'autres ont attendu que Ben Ali s'enfuit de Tunisie pour rejeter le RCD. Vous l'avez fait bien avant, bien des années avant. Et là, je dois rendre hommage à tous les membres de la direction du PSE, et particulièrement à quelqu'un que j'ai connu jeune, au début des années 90, lorsqu'il était membre de la jeunesse socialiste de la Youzi. Il est venu presque clandestinement en Tunisie, Philippe Cordery. Depuis le début des années 2000, j'ai été presque invité à participer d'une manière régulière à tous vos congrès et je n'en ai manqué presque aucun, aussi bien à Berlin, à Porto et d'autres destinations. Je vous en suis très reconnaissant et je vous promets que maintenant et à partir d'aujourd'hui, je vous affirme qu'on restera tout à fait fidèle à nos valeurs communes, universelles, pour défendre la démocratie, pour défendre les libertés, pour défendre l'égalité entre les hommes et les femmes. À un moment, vous nous avez fait confiance dans les moments difficiles et croyez bien que nous avons besoin de votre confiance dans les moments où nous sommes en train de construire la nouvelle démocratie dans les pays arabes et la démocratie en Tunisie en particulier, puisque nous sommes en pleine rédaction de notre nouvelle constitution. Aujourd'hui, chers camarades, chers amis, c'est un grand jour, non pas parce qu'il couronne tout un processus de solidarité et de soutien, mais parce qu'aujourd'hui, c'est un nouveau pont jeté entre l'Occident, entre l'Europe et l'Orient, en reconnaissant le parti At-Takattul de Tunisie et le parti Fatah de Palestine. Vous affirmez d'une manière concrète que le dialogue entre les civilisations et entre les peuples n'est pas un vain mot. Ça n'est pas un slogan, c'est une réalité et aujourd'hui vous le concrétisez. Un grand merci. Je vous demande de continuer à vous battre à côté de nous, à côté de toutes les causes justes. Et la cause de Palestine est une cause juste. Et la cause de la démocratie et des libertés sont des causes justes. Et nous allons nous battre, nous allons avancer pour que ces valeurs universelles communes soient aussi nos valeurs. Il nous faut du temps, il vous faut à vous de la patience, mais nous avons espérance. En tout cas, vous avez démontré que vous êtes toujours du côté des peuples, alors que d'autres sont toujours intéressés par les intérêts et la raison d'État qui finit par prévaloir et les intérêts financiers. Nous sommes aussi intéressés par le modèle de développement qui soit au service des peuples et au service de la justice sociale. Encore une fois, un grand merci et bon vent.
Thank you also for this speech, which also shows us how important is international solidarity and cooperation, and how much also can involve in the future. Dear comrades, we now come to the end of this debate. We have not got any further wishes to speak, so therefore we can go for the voting. Also, I can tell you we have not got any amendments. All the amendments which had been sent before had been worked out in the Presidium already. So the text which is tabled here is already including all the amendments, so we can go directly to the vote of the whole resolution. So therefore I would ask you to keep your voting cards with you, because I will ask now who is in favor of the resolution. Please show us with the voting cards. Thank you. Just for the records, I think we don't need the counters. Who is against? Who is abstaining? Nobody, so the resolution is voted unanimously and therefore carried on. Thank you for the debate and for the voting and all the good work which has been put in this resolution.